She said she was done, and this time nobody laughed it off. Nobody asked her to wait. Nobody told her to calm down. The moment Jenny said she was leaving India for good, the fantasy cracked, and the silence stopped working. Everyone watching thought they knew this story. A woman crosses the world for love. A man fights tradition. A family resists, then slowly bends. You saw the tears. You saw the vow. You saw two people insist love would win if they held on long enough. That version felt comforting. It felt brave. It felt romantic. But comfort stories hide sharp edges, and this one had plenty. For years, this relationship survived on a single promise. Endure now, peace later. Stay patient. Stay polite. Stay quiet. Every setback arrived with the same explanation. Time would fix it. Living together would fix it. Proving loyalty would fix it. Each delay sounded reasonable on its own. Stacked together, those delays became a lifestyle. Jenny kept showing up. New country. New language. New rules she never helped write. Viewers praised strength. Friends praised sacrifice. What rarely got said out loud was how much of herself kept getting packed away in the name of progress. When people cheer patience long enough, patience starts looking like obligation. And right here is where the story starts bending in a direction nobody expected. Sumit often spoke about balance. Family on one side, marriage on the other. He described pressure, fear, duty, all real, all heavy. What stayed missing was action. Comfort came from postponement. Promise now. Decide later. Later kept moving. Then came the move everyone framed as the solution, living with his parents. One house, one roof, one chance for unity. The idea sounded neat. Real life rarely behaves. The shift did not feel gradual. It felt immediate. Different rules, different expectations, different power. Inside that house, Jenny stopped feeling like a partner and started feeling like a guest who overstayed. Respect turned into obedience. Adjustment turned into silence. Daily life shrank. Small choices started carrying weight. When to rest, when to speak, when to disappear. The message stayed subtle but steady. Fit in or feel wrong. Sumit believed proximity would soften resistance. Instead, it sharpened it. Each day placed him between comfort and courage. Each day he picked comfort, not with shouting, not with cruelty, with avoidance. Reassure privately. Freeze publicly. Let time do the talking. Notice how nothing explodes here, and notice how much damage still piles up. Viewers saw arguments and thought drama. What played out off camera felt quieter and heavier. Jenny stopped reacting because reacting cost too much. Silence kept peace. Peace kept the house calm. Calm kept the illusion alive. When someone lives inside rules they never chose, time stops feeling healing. It starts feeling endless. That realization did not arrive during a fight. It arrived during stillness. The thought landed hard and clear. This setup promised no finish line. A month would change nothing. A year would change nothing. Waiting longer meant losing more. People love saying compromise builds relationships. Compromise works when both sides move. When movement flows one direction, compromise turns into erasure. Jenny saw the pattern without anger. That clarity scared everyone else more than yelling ever would. Her decision did not sound dramatic. It sounded final. No threats. No bargaining. No conditions. Leaving meant leaving. Staying meant disappearing. Those were the options left on the table. And this choice did something nobody in that house prepared for. The moment she stopped asking, the structure shook. Control relies on consent. Silence provides cover. Once consent disappears, truth rushes in. What followed exposed every delay. Every promise parked in the future. Every time comfort mattered more than partnership. Viewers felt whiplash because the warning signs blended into normalcy for years. This did not begin with one bad month. It ended there. The real story lived in all the months before. where patience filled the gaps where decisions never landed. And right after this moment, the response revealed more than any argument ever could. When Jenny finally said she could not live there anymore, the reaction told the real story faster than any recap ever could. Nobody asked what broke her. Nobody asked how long she felt like this. The first instinct was control. Stay. Adjust. Stop reacting. The response was not about love. It was about order. This is where the tone shifts. Because the issue stopped being emotional and started being structural. Living under one roof did not fail because of personality clashes. It failed because the rules were already written, and Jenny never held the pen. Every household has norms. The problem starts when those norms operate as commands instead of conversations. Inside that house, respect meant silence. Silence meant approval. Approval kept peace. Peace protected hierarchy. Once you see that chain, the pressure becomes easier to understand. Speaking up did not feel like expression. Speaking up felt like disruption. And disruption carried consequences. And here's the detail viewers glossed over at first. Silence was doing the work nobody else wanted to do. Sumit stood in the middle and called it balance. From his side, pressure poured in nonstop. Parents expected obedience. Culture expected loyalty. Marriage expected protection. Standing up required conflict. Conflict threatened everything he knew. Avoidance felt safer. Delay felt kinder. Promises filled the gap where decisions should have landed. He reassured Jenny in private. He minimized in public. That split became routine. Routine turned into habit. Habit turned into damage. When actions contradict words long enough, trust does not break loudly. It thins out. It fades. Jenny watched conversations happen in a language she did not speak. That detail mattered more than people admitted. Exclusion does not need shouting. Exclusion happens quietly when information flows around you. Each untranslated sentence reinforced the same lesson. Power lived elsewhere. Some viewers labeled this cultural misunderstanding. Culture did not force silence. People enforced silence. Culture did not demand obedience without consent. Authority demanded obedience. That distinction matters because it shifts responsibility away from tradition and back onto choices. Once you notice the difference, the entire situation reads differently. Jenny started shrinking her needs to keep the environment stable. She stopped pushing. She stopped asking. Calm replaced honesty. On the outside, things looked smoother. Inside, pressure built. Calm achieved through self-erasure never lasts. The turning point did not involve raised voices. It involved recognition. Recognition hurts more because it removes hope. Hope tells you effort pays off. Recognition tells you effort feeds the system keeping you stuck. She saw that living there rewarded her silence. She saw that discomfort triggered correction, not care. She saw that waiting longer meant surrendering more ground. No one needed to say it out loud. The pattern spoke clearly. This is the moment patience stopped looking noble and started looking dangerous. When Jenny shared her decision, resistance arrived fast. Stay. This is not acceptable. You belong here. Those words revealed something critical. Belonging came with conditions. Conditions did not include choice. Being told to stay stripped the last illusion. Marriage implies partnership. Orders imply hierarchy. Once hierarchy enters marriage, someone loses a voice. Jenny felt that loss fully in that moment. Sumit reacted with anger framed as concern. Questions centered on logistics. Where would they live? How would they manage? What would people say? None of those addressed why she felt trapped. Focus stayed on disruption, not distress. That response cut deeper than yelling ever could. Pain went unacknowledged. Independence went condemned. Acting alone violated unspoken rules. Those rules existed long before Jenny arrived. She simply refused to obey them anymore. Watch how fast independence gets reframed as disrespect when silence ends. Friends noticed the shift. Jenny stopped seeking reassurance. She stopped negotiating. She spoke plainly, calmly. That calm unsettled everyone. Calm signals certainty. Certainty threatens systems built on delay. Sumit accused her of humiliation. That word mattered. Humiliation focused on image, not impact. Appearances outweighed partnership. Once again, perception ranked higher than pain. This pattern did not start here. Every time Jenny pushed before, she heard the same response. Wait longer. Things improve later. Parents soften eventually. That future never arrived. Time passed. Circumstances stayed fixed. Waiting worked for Sumit. Waiting preserved peace. Waiting avoided choice. Waiting cost Jenny years. Unequal waiting exposes unequal power. And once waiting stops, everything else shakes loose. Living under constant observation changed how Jenny moved through space. Small acts gained weight. Rest felt earned. Choices felt scrutinized. There was no private corner to exhale. Home never felt like refuge. Sumit downplayed her distress. Adjustment takes time. Overreaction became the label. Minimizing pain protects the person benefiting from delay. Acknowledging pain demands action. When Jenny mentioned returning to America permanently, the tone shifted again. Guilt replaced reassurance. Sacrifice lists surfaced. Family honor entered the conversation. Shame hovered nearby. The message landed clearly. Her leaving caused his suffering. That framing flipped responsibility. Her pain faded behind his fear. His fear justified her endurance. Any move toward agency became selfishness. Once you see that reversal, the emotional math becomes impossible to ignore. The argument that followed released years of pressure. Jenny named what she felt. Erased, controlled, trapped. She pointed to choices postponed, courage avoided, promises recycled. She asked what he expected her to do. His answer revealed everything. What do you want me to do? That question sounded defensive. It exposed avoidance. The same question sat unanswered for years. The answer required action he refused to take. Family pressure intensified. Leaving the house equaled betrayal. Compliance stayed non-negotiable. This confirmed Jenny's worst fear. Any future there meant constant battles. Each boundary tested. Each decision challenged. Staying promised survival. Leaving promised selfhood. That choice stopped feeling complicated. This clarity explains why her decision felt sudden to others and inevitable to her. Preparation began quietly. Contacts back home, support systems, real planning, not a threat, not leverage, a plan grounded in realism. Hope stepped aside, preservation took over. Sumit spiraled between desperation and paralysis. Losing Jenny scared him. Standing up to parents terrified him more. Childhood conditioning runs deep. Fear outpaced love. The finality set this apart. No bargaining left, no leverage to pull. Jenny did not posture. She resolved. Returning home represented survival, not defeat. Choosing herself ended a pattern where sacrifice kept everyone else comfortable. And once sacrifice ends, systems built on it start collapsing fast. This relationship survived through her endurance. Remove that endurance, and the foundation cracks. Waiting no longer cushions conflict. Silence no longer absorbs pressure. Delay no longer buys time. What remains is choice, real choice. Choose partnership or hierarchy. Choose courage or comfort. Choose action or loss. As Jenny prepared to leave, relief mixed with grief. She mourned the future she hoped for. She reclaimed the present she deserved. Sumit faced consequences long postponed. Indecision carries cost. Avoidance charges interest. The bill arrives eventually. The story people thought they followed changed shape. Romance faded. Reality stepped forward. Love without agency collapsed under its own weight. And this leaves one question hanging heavy. What happens when someone finally refuses to disappear anymore? The moment Jenny landed back on American soil, something shifted that even the loudest arguments in India never managed to move. Distance stripped the noise away. No parents watching. No rules hovering. No daily negotiations over silence. Just space. And in that space, the truth settled fast. She did not arrive celebrating. She arrived breathing. Relief showed up first, then grief followed close behind. Both feelings existed at the same time, and neither canceled the other. Leaving did not erase love. It ended a pattern. People watching from the outside rushed to frame the story as escape or defeat. Neither label fit. This was about survival. Staying had started costing too much. Leaving cost something too, but it did not cost her sense of self. And right here, the narrative flips from breakup drama to consequence. Back in India, Sumit faced something new. Silence without Jenny. The house felt louder without her presence absorbing tension. The buffer disappeared. Conversations turned direct. Expectations turned inward. For years, he lived inside a system where delay worked. Delay smoothed conflict. Delay preserved image. Delay kept options open. Once Jenny left, delay lost value. No one waited anymore. Family pressure did not soften. It sharpened. The same authority structure remained intact. The difference sat in who absorbed the weight. Without Jenny there, Sumit stood alone under expectations he once redirected. Viewers saw him conflicted, torn, upset. Those emotions looked real. Fear does not fake well. But fear still does not equal effort. Emotional struggle matters. Action still matters more. Pay attention to what changes and what stays the same after she leaves. He spoke about love. He spoke about loss. He spoke about pain. He still avoided the central question. What choice did he plan to make? Silence filled the gap again. Jenny, meanwhile, started rebuilding routines. Simple ones: sleep without tension, conversations without translation gaps, choices without approval. Those small freedoms carried weight because they reminded her what normal felt like. The contrast grew sharper. From afar, the imbalance looked clearer. Distance often reveals patterns closeness hides. She saw how often compromise flowed one way. She saw how often waiting benefited others. She saw how much of her identity she parked to keep peace. Some fans accused her of giving up. That accusation missed the point. Giving up implies abandonment of effort. She exhausted effort. What she stopped was self-erasure. This distinction separates resilience from self-harm. Sumit reached out. Apologies surfaced. Regret followed. Words returned easily. Words always came easily. The question sat beneath every conversation. Would words finally pair with action? Public sympathy leaned his way for some viewers. Cultural pressure earned understanding. Family duty earned empathy. Those realities deserve respect. Respect does not erase consequence. Plenty of people face pressure and still choose partnership. Pressure explains fear. It does not excuse avoidance. Jenny listened without reopening wounds. She stayed calm. Calm did not mean soft. Calm meant resolved. The same patience people once praised now turned inward. She guarded her peace. When someone stops negotiating their boundaries, conversations feel different. The idea of reunion floated. Only floated. No concrete shift followed. Distance revealed another truth. Love requires alignment. Alignment demands choice. Without choice, cycles repeat. Delay resets. Hope revives briefly. Pain returns quietly. Fans debated blame. Some blamed culture, some blamed age gaps, some blamed personalities. Those angles distracted from the core issue. Power imbalance fueled everything. When one partner adapts endlessly and the other delays endlessly, outcomes stay predictable. Eventually, endurance breaks. This pattern extends beyond this couple, and that is why viewers reacted so strongly. Many recognize pieces of their own lives. Waiting for change. Excusing discomfort. Calling silence maturity. Naming sacrifice love. Stories resonate when they reflect lived experiences. Jenny's choice challenged that narrative. It suggested patience has limits. It suggested love demands agency. It suggested endurance without respect destroys slowly. Sumit's future narrowed. He faced a fork without buffer. Choose partnership and disrupt hierarchy. Choose hierarchy and accept loss. Both paths carried cost. One carried growth. Indecision once protected him. Now it exposed him. Indecision always works until it stops working. Family dynamics intensified. Pressure closed ranks. Support came with conditions. Loyalty stayed non-negotiable. The system remained unchanged. This revealed something uncomfortable. Acceptance never waited on time. Acceptance waited on compliance. Jenny stopped complying. The door closed. Back in America, Jenny processed grief openly. Loss deserved acknowledgement. Years invested deserved mourning. Strength includes grief. Moving on does not erase attachment. She spoke about learning, about ignoring early signals, about believing patience earned respect, about confusing hope with progress. Those reflections carried weight because they lacked bitterness. Growth rarely sounds dramatic. It sounds clear. Clarity is often mistaken for coldness by those losing control. The relationship existed in a suspended state, neither fully ended, neither continued. That limbo mirrored the years before. The difference sat in Jenny's stance. She no longer waited. Waiting requires belief in change. She believed patterns instead. Sumit oscillated. Messages alternated between remorse and defensiveness. Accountability stayed partial. Responsibility stayed shared. True ownership remained absent. From the outside, viewers watched a familiar arc. Promises resurface. Distance fuels nostalgia. Pain softens memory. Reality waits patiently. Jenny resisted nostalgia's pull. Nostalgia remembers highlights. It forgets cost. Remembering selectively keeps cycles alive. She grounded herself in present facts. Peace returned with distance. Anxiety eased without scrutiny. Her body responded before her mind finished processing. The nervous system rarely lies. Sumit's world shrank. Options limited. Avoidance lost space. Family expectations filled the vacuum. The cost of not choosing surfaced clearly. Losing Jenny became real. Regret deepened. Whether regret led to action remained unclear. Some fans hoped for reunion, others cheered independence. Both reactions spoke to personal projections. The story touched nerves. At its core, this was never about geography. It was about agency. Location exposed the issue. Power defined it. Change locations without changing dynamics and outcomes repeat. Jenny understood this. Returning without structural change meant replaying pain. Distance protected her growth. She refused to accept promises without proof. Boundaries replaced hope. Evidence replaced faith. That shift unsettled everyone used to her patience. Patience once smoothed discomfort. Boundaries disrupted it. Disruption creates discomfort. Discomfort forces truth. Sumit confronted a question delayed too long. What mattered more? Comfort or courage? Approval or partnership? Fear or action? Avoiding the answer no longer worked. This is where stories either transform or end. As weeks passed, silence grew heavier. Communication slowed. Reality settled. The fantasy of compromise without conflict dissolved. Jenny focused forward. Work, community, stability. Independence felt grounding. Sumit remained suspended, caught between worlds. Each path demanded loss. Choosing none guaranteed. Viewers watched, waiting for a decisive move. The tension shifted from explosive drama to quiet consequence. Quiet consequence lingers longer. The relationship, once fueled by hope, now faced reality stripped of illusion. Love alone never sustained it. Sacrifice did. Once sacrifice ended, nothing replaced it. This truth explains why the collapse felt sudden yet overdue. Jenny reclaimed her voice. She stopped translating herself into smaller versions. She stopped apologizing for needing autonomy. Autonomy does not cancel love. It tests it. The test arrived late. The result felt clear. As conversations tapered off, acceptance grew. Not approval. Acceptance of what existed and what did not. Sumit faced grief layered with responsibility. Responsibility hurts more than heartbreak. Heartbreak fades. Responsibility lingers. Whether he grows from this remains unanswered. Growth demands confrontation. Avoidance resists it. The story paused without neat resolution. That unsettled viewers expecting closure. Real life rarely offers clean endings. Instead, it offers lessons. And the lesson sits heavy. Endurance without agency drains until nothing remains. The final takeaway echoed beyond this couple. Love thrives on mutual choice. Silence sustains systems that benefit from it. Patience without progress harms quietly. Jenny choosing herself did not villainize anyone. It revealed truth. Truth changes stories. And the next chapter waits on whether someone else finally chooses to.